Welcome back to the Four Rings Inn for another episode of City of Shadows. Our characters have leveled up. Our players leveled up to level 3 since we
So many
last
hit points.
saw them. Yes. Oh yeah, those hit points are so important. Everyone counts. After a particularly harrowing combat in the back
we needed the
streets.
hit points.
You need the hit points. Oh yeah, in the back streets of New Elsport. It was easily the most dangerous combat that we've seen so far, with everybody demonstrating some awesome character abilities. Almost a character death. Like, what more could you ask for?
Oh my goodness.
So, but our characters are currently returning back to their homes after that intense combat, but the dangers of Thalia have not quite lifted. So, are you ready for a scary story?
It's got to be easier than last episode.
Yeah.
Please. We return to the earliest hours of the 26th day of Maiar as a carriage moves over the cobblestone streets in the dead of night as Julius turns the Quillen carriage back towards Nightingale Avenue. I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful and 3 alive highborns for a moment as they return back from Elm Boulevard and the cultists that lurk in the back alleys.
Orianna, are you alright?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. My eyes are just on Redshore, and I think this whole time sitting in the carriage, I'm just like looking at him up and down, looking just to make sure he's okay, and like just looking for any signs of like bleeding or bruises or any signs of damage. Redshore, are you good?
Oddly, yeah. Those priests are, well, for lack of a better term, they work magic.
It's quite fortunate running into them. I don't know what I would have done.
Do you think they're part of it, like a conspiracy?
I don't know. I don't think a conspiracy involves us getting away.
That's a good point. They probably wouldn't have helped us.
I don't understand what just happened. I mean, the man, he didn't even attack us.
It's true.
We could have been killed in there. And I feel like his only aim was to distract. Where did he go? Why didn't he come after us?
That's a great question. You're right. It was like he was just trying to prolong our time in the area. Just creating these twisting streets and the caverns and...
I didn't even know magic could do that.
News to me. But I don't know much about magic.
No, but he got away. And I think we have to let Dayborne know just how much more dangerous he is than we all thought.
That Handel guy, there's no way he's still in town, right? He just, again, pun intended, flew the nest.
I mean, we have to check in with the Kimbridges in first thing in the morning.
For sure.
Make sure they're okay.
That's a good point.
If he knows he's been caught, I'm fearful for who he might come after. The Kimbridges, us. Will he run? Will he try to return? I mean, the man certainly did not seem happy that we had followed him.
Maybe he won't make it out of that corner.
Perhaps, but again, the man didn't attack anyone. Not Hamill, not us. Orianna, do you think we could use tonight? We sent the Ashen Order back to try and find Hamill to let Dayborne know about the cult of Cinderfall? Do you think we could give more information pretending that we discovered it tonight? As if we overheard more than we did?
Yeah, I believe there's a way that we can mention more.
What kind of more?
I mean, the more people who know about at least the fact that this cult is out there, and that is what Hamel was, a part of at large. Get more eyes on it. Get more eyes on trying to find this man. Do you think he's the father?
I feel like we wouldn't have stumbled into Father so easily. But
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's possible,
certainly.
but
Really, all we know about him
didn't
is that he
feel it.
wears a mask, right? Do we know any other demographic information?
We know Hera told us that they met with Father at night.
So no, we just know he wears a mask. We have no idea what he looks like.
Yeah.
Pretty sure they all wear masks.
Hambo wasn't.
Just the red cloak.
And we know he
True.
carries a sphere, that most of them are probably armed with spheres. Except Hambel.
Maybe
He's using archaic
only
magic.
maybe only the runic casters wear the masks, because Hera was wearing a mask, and
True.
Fanged Big Guy was wearing a mask. We know Father wears a mask, but Hambo wasn't. He's the only one we know who wasn't. But perhaps he just wasn't wearing it because it draws attention.
Possible, or it's a symbol of rank within the order.
So many options.
Not many answers. That was just so terrifying.
Yeah.
I should think that perhaps we should all arm ourselves.
Yeah, I would understand if you guys wanted to take a step away from following this cult. I mean, I feel really guilty dragging you guys into this, and you guys being associated with it and putting you in danger. I
not
hate seeing you
bring
guys
us
in
into
danger
it.
like this.
They did stuff in my home, and they are after Renshaw. Honestly, I feel like you're the least connected. I feel like you have been brought into this unrightfully so.
Yeah, but it's my job to follow after them and to protect the people of this city, and
What if we all
I felt
just
like I didn't do much protecting tonight.
What if we all just went to Valdor? Just ran.
I don't think that would save your brother.
Or the rest of the city from Asha. From the first of Asha.
I'm quite fearful about that as well. I wish we knew more. I'm glad we survived. I'm glad that the priest came.
A week ago, I wasn't saying I'm glad we survived. A week ago, I was happy to have my biscuits, and not having them was the biggest issue of the day. Whereas just an hour ago, I had died.
You didn't die, Renshaw.
It was close.
I know, but I would like to take hope.
What did it feel like? Dying.
Nothing. Just felt like nothing.
Well, once again, I don't know how much sleep I'm gonna get tonight.
Yes, we should keep a watchful eye for birds and rats and masked
Wow.
figures in the night.
One of those is easier to spot than the others.
I'm glad you two are together. At least we're not spread as quite as thin.
You're welcome to stay at Tyrval Manor, but
I
our
was
guards
just about
and
to offer.
security isn't nearly as good as yours. Putting us all in one place might draw a little more attention, but
Yeah, I have faith that that's not worth the
Well, if you need something, we're just right down the street, and you know where to
Yes.
find us.
Yes.
you just don't want to
Not
deal
that
with my
far.
dad. Can't blame you.
I wish to sleep in my own bed. After this, I certainly could use it. Good night. I will come for you in the morning.
As you say your goodbyes, the carriage pulls up in front of Tyrval Manor. Julius hops off to open the door for the Renshaw and Orianna. As he does, and he ushers you out, he says to you, he goes, yes, Lord Tyrval, I'm so glad that I was able to match up our timing with you. I was worried for a little bit we were going to miss you. Did you find what you were looking for out there? I know you were out pretty late tonight.
Who's saying this?
This is Julius, the carriage driver. He's just making small talk. He was out late. He was helping out. Did we get what we were looking for?
I mean, you hid in the back of his carriage earlier today and told him, follow that man.
Yeah.
We managed to find more than we were looking for.
Oh, excellent. Oh, that is wonderful. I love it when
Perhaps.
I get more than what you bargained for. Excellent. Well, I'm
As
glad
long
I
as
could
it's
just
more
be
of
a
a
part
good
of it,
thing.
sir.
Yes, I too am very glad you were a part. Your timing was impeccable.
I live to serve, Lord Tyrval. Have a pleasant evening.
Is he expecting me to tip him too?
No, absolutely. I work.
Okay.
I know. I do not get tipped. It is crazy that Miss Quillen, Lady Quillen, tipped me. I work for her. I don't even really get paid. I just I
You
live
don't get
there.
paid?
They give me. I get a paycheck, but I live there. They feed me. I'm part of their staff. He doesn't need to. She does not need to pay me.
I understand. Well, sleep well.
You as well, Lord Tyrval. And the two of you return to Tyrval Manor, and the carriage trots off down the street to Quillen Keep.
I kind of forgot there were horses involved with carriages.
They could clop down the street. Anything the two of you would like to do before bed?
I don't believe so. I think at this point, if Renshaw's ready to ascend up to his bedroom, I'm gonna make my way to the staff quarters and try to wind down for the night. Like I said, I don't know how much sleep I'm gonna be getting, but I'm just gonna make my way to that space.
I'll pause in the foyer. See if Orianna wants to talk. And when she continues, I will just go up to my room. As I'm preparing for bed, taking all my day clothes off, I notice that my chest is different.
Yes, you do. You certainly do. You look down as you pull your shirt off, and within the center of your chest, you can see the first just handful of these like black tendrily veins that have pushed through the skin and creep like over your chest up towards your collarbone. Just a handful of these like sick veins as you have taken a bigger sip than maybe your body has been ready to handle, and it leaves a everlasting imprint on your body. And as they kind of, snake across your chest, you can't help but wonder how much they will grow or how deep they take root within that you just cannot see. Like mold on top of bread, the roots go deep even if you don't see it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Venture, you moldy piece of
you
bread.
moldy bread. No, it's not. You're not a
rough,
moldy
buddy.
piece of bread.
No, that's sick. That's a good scar.
Yeah. I will have to make sure I keep that covered.
But you retire for the evening and both receive long rests for the time. Eleanor, the travel down Nightingale Avenue is uneventful. You return back to Quillen Keep. Is there anything you would like to do before heading up to your bedroom?
First, I would like to give Julius his cloak back, and in the pockets, I have left him more shade marks.
He doesn't notice right away. He will be like flabbergasted that you would even have the thought to do it.
And then I think I'll go up to my room, but I just want to spend some time drawing everything that I've seen today, from the Black Tomb to the craziness, the nightmare realm.
Sure. Yeah, you have, it's probably like 3 or 4 different like little sketches that you've made.
Yeah.
Depicted. There was a lot of events the previous day. There's probably one of just like a bust of Hamble, his face, his likeness. You have, like you said, Hera Harvester, Black Tomb, and the Nightmare Realm, that spell that was cast, the mask of the Fang cultist. Yeah, all those details get put down to paper.
And I think I spend the most time as well on a portrait of Renshaw, but like Renshaw when he was pulled out and just dead on the cobblestone. And I really just like focus most of my energy on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I get a copy of that?
You make these images. They are, again, you don't spend a ton of time on it, but they are incredibly accurate. They have all the likeness as if you were standing right there. And as you head up to your room, Eleanor's passive perception is just so high, and it has been for her whole life. She is not unaccustomed to picking up things that others may not necessarily hear going on within the house. And as you pass through the 3rd floor of Quillen Keep, despite maybe what you would like to not hear, you can't help but listen in on the arguing between Florian and Kier, who try to keep it in hushed voices, but even then you can hear their emotions rising and their words slipping through the walls. You, again, with your passive perception, you can make out Florian say something along, you catch the end of a sentence, her saying, "A clear overstep in power." And Kier retorts, "What does it matter? Eleanor was attacked just days ago." Florian cuts him off and goes, Oh, now you wish to be involved in politics yourself. Why don't you go prattle, and then is cut off again by here. Who goes, Florian, don't you dare act like, who is once again cut off by the spouse, who says, no, no, no. If you want to lecture me on pristine policy, you remember which one of us is Count Quillen. To the final response that you hear, which is, by the Novem, kiss my ass! And then it becomes unintelligible arguing from there. And unfortunately, that is what, even in your bedroom, Eleanor's perception is just so high, you can't help but tune into their noises as they go late into the evening.
Yeah, I think I just don't sleep until they stop, and I just like sit on my bed, and this is when finally the emotions of the day coming home to this, I just let the tears fall.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just listen, because there's nothing else I can do.
Yeah. And again, with such a good perception, you know, and you knew it was going to happen before it did, but you hear the familiar sound of the argument ending, not with a resolution, but with them separating into different rooms for the evening.
Good thing you have so many.
Good thing you're rich. You know, that solves all your problems.
You're rich.
Yes, but it certainly does not ease the tears and the stress as it all catches up with you. And despite a uneasy night, you do also get a long rest.
Hell yeah.
Oh man, could you imagine being so disturbed by your parents arguing you actually don't get a long rest?
Don't. That's tough.
Not
Don't
you,
tempt the
bitch.
DM. He might.
The next morning, the sun rises, still the 26th of Maiar. The sun rises over Thalia. The morning is cloudy, overcast, but not rainy. It doesn't look like rain is to come this day. In the early morning, Orianna, you are one of the first to awake in Tyrvald Manor. What are your actions first thing in the morning?
Well, I think I wake up so early just from lack of sleep, even though, thank God I got that long rest still on paper. But I know after that attack, and just thinking back, Chimette has been bothering me for a while to come visit him, and I've been neglecting to do so. And I think I just would very much like to talk to my mentor and have us go to someone I feel very comfortable with. And so I would like to get up early in the morning, well before breakfast, just as the sun is rising, to go out and meet him at the Asphodel Square.
Perfect. Yeah.
That's where I'm heading.
Yes, absolutely. You make your way out to Asphodel Square. As you get there, you can see the priests of the square are moving about, getting ready for their first service of the morning. There's no service of the Novem this early in the morning. They'll probably do a smaller service later in the day, and then there are larger services over the weekend or the week beginning, as the calendar does it. But you can see for each of the temples of the Ascended, Volsair, Ryan, Everin, and Amira, those priests are filing into their respective temples and preparing for an early morning service, something to provide for people before they go into work if they don't have time after service then.
Yeah. I think when I arrive here at the square, instead of first going to the office that I know Chimet is in, I do want to make my way first towards the Temple of Amira,
Sure.
as that place holds a special place to me. And I know there's not too many people wandering in the square quite yet. People haven't really arrived for these worship services yet. And so I want to make my way behind the temple first, where I know that there's like a gardening shed or something that to like maintain the grounds, and I want to use like a bin or something to climb up onto the roof, and then use that roof to climb up onto another roof, whatever I need to do to get onto the Temple of Amira's roof.
Going for the roof, you make your way up the roof. Normally this would involve climb checks and athletic checks and the such. Given the fact that you're not in a rush and you're taking your time, you're able to do all of these without a check.
Oh, good.
And you make your way up. I do need you to make a stealth check for me for being on the roof. It is early morning. There's not too many people out. There's not too many people on rooftops, but the people that do freaking the rooftops are cunning individuals.
I got a 16.
Cool, perfect. You get on the rooftops. You don't see anybody else. I mean, it's the rooftops of the city early in the morning. Like, there's no. You can see over most of the houses and the chimneys that are beginning to puff smoke as people wake up and start making.
The only other people that are up here are the cultists and now.
Exactly, it's you and the cultists. The Asphodel Square did have the footprints on the depraved that was on the roof at one point. So it's you, the depraved.
No, I'm just following in those footsteps.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, you make it up.
I want to make my way on top of the temple roof because I know the Temple of Amira has like stained glass like skylights looking down.
Sure.
And I want to situate myself to look down into the temple.
Yeah, you get up there. With a 16 stealth, you can position yourself where nobody from like the street or Asphodel Square could see where you're positioned. You get into the roof. You look down through the stained glass windows, and you see the Temple of Amira. The Temple of Amira is the lights within are always dim and soft due to the stained glass windows and the incense smoke that wisps through the air. There are no images within the stained glass, but rather mesmerizing mandalas and patterns that ripple across all of these stained glass windows, both within the roof and along the outside of the temple. A small foyer of the temple holds a marble statue of Amira in the center, with the base being a rounded bookcase holding literature written in her name or her ideologies for those interested to learn more about the goddess or the ascended goddess. Either side of the foyer has racks of mace balls hanging on the wall for the more physically inclined members of the Temple of Amira. The candles line the perimeter of the room, adding in light to this dimly lit space. There are no depictions of Amira. The inside of the temple past the foyer. In place of where there would be normally depictions of the god or like paintings, in place of that are mirrors instead for people to reflect on themselves as a large part of Amira's teaching. The ceiling, as I said, is vaulted with those exposed wooden beams, allowing the light from the stained glass to shimmer off, cast shadows across the floor, and paint like that beautiful rainbow picture of light and darkness, that juxtaposition on the floor. Um, there are no chairs or pews lining her temple. Instead, the floor, there are individual ornate navy rugs facing the front altar, each with a small cushion of deep red at the end. Patrons are encouraged to remove their shoes before entering the temple, and you see the patrons doing that at the moment. They're entering, they're taking off their shoes, and they're crossing the threshold towards these rugs on the floor. The altar at the far end of the room is a marble platform where the priest begins to guide the followers of Amira through the belief and through the worship of not just Amira herself, but through the Ascended as a whole. Lining this platform are brass singing bowls used by the Ardents, candles, more ornate rugs, and a cushion in the center for the priest who is giving the service to do the movements of Vignacci with the service members. In this morning, the service is a mix between a guided meditation and Vignacci, those movements that we saw Orianna do earlier by herself. And you see people file in and begin to start this meditation and Vignacci worship of Amira.
I'm just gonna kind of keep myself perched up here, and I want to watch the service as it commences. And I think at first I feel very jealous of the practitioners that are there, of the this beautiful, mindful community that they all get to be a part of. And in this moment, my uniform feels very heavy as it hangs on my shoulders. My boots feel very large, looking over all of the barefoot believers as they step on to their mats and do all their Vignacci movements. But I also feel a sense of duty to these people, and I want to protect them, as they're unaware of my presence here, looking down on them. They're also unaware of the dangers that look below them in the catacombs. And even after all I've done to protect them, I still feel undeserving of being part of them. Like I can no longer walk through those doors that I once had. And I'm just trying to find meaning in this feeling of exile, of not being a part of their world right now.
Yeah.
And sure. I'm gonna sit there until all of the worship has cleared out, until the square is cleared of people, and then I'll make my way down to find Chimet in his office.
Yeah, absolutely. You see everyone has cleared out of the Temple of Amira, but the Ardents keep the incense burning, they keep the candles lit, and there's always a handful of people within the temple that the Ardents are going through the books in the bookshelf to learn more. Mm-hmm. The priests are practicing their Vignacci and increasing their knowledge of what they know and enhancing the things that they don't know. And there's always a little bit going on, but you see the practitioners exit, and you slink off the roof quietly before moving towards the office of one of the more a very experienced member of the priests of Amira, Chimet. You make your way into his office. As you enter, I need you to make a perception check.
What is my perception?
I don't know.
17.
Could you imagine?
That's pretty good.
17, very good. You enter, and you see there are his office is a mess. He has books strewn about the place. He's been taking notes in like the margins of books. Um, there are cups of drained liquid that he's been spending late nights in here. There are
Oh, just like normal empty drinks.
yeah, like empty drinks. Yeah,
Okay.
he just has
You
like
said drink liquid, and I was like, what?
yeah, like
He's been getting drunk.
Okay.
I was trying to think if coffee exists, and I think coffee's pretty old. I imagine coffee's been around for a long time.
As long as you have the right trade.
As long as you
the
have,
right
as long as
client.
you have access to coffee beans, they probably have coffee.
I thought he was peeing in bottles.
No, he was not peeing in bottles. He's been drinking a lot of coffee. He's spending late nights here, and you see Chemet himself. He's in his priest robes. Is in here. As soon as you walk in, he turns and his face lights up. As soon as you enter, you also see, as a surprise, next to him is Elda Lunaris, your younger sister, is here very early in the morning. You see Elda is also an Aasimar. She is even paler than you are, a very similar complexion to your father, with dark black hair, comes in a bob about down to her shoulders, and she is wearing the robes of a teacher at the why can't I think of the name? The academy.
The Guiding Flame?
The Guiding Flame, yes, thank you. The Guiding Flame Academy, which is the academy that you grew up in. Elda also grew up in. But you see, she is no longer wearing the attire of a student or of an apprentice. Like, she has the full robes of a teacher. And
Whoa.
as you pan across the room on a 17 perception, you notice sitting on a pedestal with like a small cushion underneath it is the sphere that you had given to Chemet from the Temple of Orion.
Good thing we kept that hidden.
You notice books, particularly on alchemy and divine magic, have been pulled out of the library and are sitting in stacks. There are tomes open that are retelling stories, exploits of the Chosen, which are heroes of the Ascended, particularly those involving, and again, with your perception, you pick up remembering some of these stories. Chosen that had broken some serious curses, and the purification of desecrated locations, and the great deeds of the Chosen of not only Amira but other Ascended of House Blacksbane and of Calidor. And finally, you notice a manuscript, like a scroll that details the process of silvering a blade or an arrowhead, silvering metal in order to kill monsters. And you see, again, as you enter, Chemet's face lights up. He turns to you, he goes, "Orianna, I did not know that you were coming this morning," and strides over to you and says, "Welcome. You haven't been to the office in
I know.
quite
I mean,
some
you
time."
asked me to stop by, and I figured now was
Yes.
no better than any other time. Elda, what are you doing here?
Orianna, it's so nice to see you. I didn't think we would be seeing you this morning. To be honest, I've been spending most of my mornings here for the last... and she turns to Chemet and he goes, "Boy, at least 2 months now? Maybe longer?"
Yeah, you're in sage robes. You graduated?
Yes. Well, I wasn't supposed to graduate until later this winter, but I was able to talk to some of uh, the sages in charge of the testing, and they knew the situation. Well, they don't know the situation with you, but they know that you are no longer uh, in the priestship. So I requested to test early, and it was a small ceremony a few weeks ago. It's fine. But yes, I am a
That's
sage.
amazing. Congratulations. Did you start teaching yet?
No, with the fall coming up, there I'm going to be a assistant for some of the study over the winter, and then once the weather gets warm in the spring, I'll have my first class to myself.
That's amazing, Elda. Congratulations. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. I know that
I'm
you
sorry I
had
missed it.
no. It is not. I know you had a lot on your plate, and I wasn't going to bother you with a graduation ceremony in the the academy.
Yeah. How's mom?
She's quite worried about you, if I'm being honest. I haven't told her of your encounters from this week, and she kind of nods to the sphere sitting on the pillow. Um, but she goes, "It's taken every ounce of effort to prevent her from sending letters to father about you. Um, it may be worth coming home sometime, at least to ease mother's nerves."
I'll think about it.
I've been
I'm
worried
glad you're
about-
doing well.
Yes, yes. No,
It's amazing. I'm so proud of you.
thank you. I know, and I again, I didn't want to bother you, but I know you have a lot going on, and I know that once everything is sorted out, then
You shouldn't be spending your mornings here. You should be working on your own study.
this is study of the priestess Amira, and I don't see a better use of my time.
I could see plenty better uses of your time.
You see Chimet at this point chimes in and says, "I can tell that you haven't been using your time to practice your Vignacci in the temple. We've missed you the last few weeks, months at that. Your form is going to get rusty." What was that?
I say, yeah, you know I can't go in there though.
But that doesn't mean we couldn't do private lessons. We can do
I've been doing my own private worship.
Remember, if you practice alone, your mistakes are only going to compound, and then you're going to have poor form by the end of the year.
That is true.
Besides, I've yet to find a new pupil competent enough to fill your shoes in the temple. I don't know. With Elda here now as a sage, I don't know. I have to look for another someone to fill the shoes until you're back. I know I've been trying to convince her. Elda goes, every week he tries to convince me, drop the sage, become a priest, and I won't do it. And Chimet.
You know, that's why I don't want Mother sending letters out to Dad, because then he's going to start hounding you.
She goes, I am well aware of what Father will do if he finds out.
Was that the sphere any helpful at all?
Yes, of course. Well, we learned. I mean, we've learned a bit about it. I've heard of what happened. They say lightning never strikes twice, but apparently cultists do. That was
Yeah,
funny.
maybe 3 times.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, a
I
third?
encountered them again last night and
Last night.
almost lost someone to them. But no deaths this time.
And you see Elda nods and goes, that's just quite terrifying. And Chimet puts his hand on your shoulder and goes, no deaths this time. That's very good. And there's nothing to gawk about. And he turns towards the sphere and says, well, how much do you know about runic magic?
I know of the sphere, and that it was deadly.
You see he picks it up and holds it in his hand and kind of offers it towards you. This one is a little larger than like a softball in size. And he goes, this is a common well. It is a type of sphere imbued with runic energy. And he offers it to hold. He says, if you like, it is stable. It is a... It's, how do I describe it? It's like a battery. It's not a very strong battery, but it is. That's what makes it stable as a common well. They use these quite often as training acolytes and new mages at the Drayden's Academy. If you would like to hold it, sometimes facing things like this make it less scary when you see it up close.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to take it back if you've already gotten use out of it.
Of course. You're welcome to take it back. Unfortunately, there's not too much information we can draw about its doings. I can tell based on what we've been reading in Motions Delta. This one, I believe, is not a naturally occurring sphere. It is completely mortal made, most likely at Drayden's Academy, and how it got this far north is quite surprising, but it looks fairly new, which is why I believe Drayden's Academy. Most of the commonwealths in House Blacksbane, and especially in Thalia, are from before the ban, so at least 55, 60 years old, if not, far older. This has been made in the last 10, easily. Quite newer.
Yeah, I kind of got some information a little later that who it belongs to, and it's not the one we're looking for, so...
Okay, well, hopefully we can return it to its rightful owner then, if the rightful owner is not dangerous. But it looks like this is a well of conjuration well, only capable of magic of that particular school. These batteries, like I said, are specific to different types of magic, and this one is limited to conjuration magic.
I'd like to return it if it's already had its use.
Sure, of course. And you see Elda chimes in, and she goes, "This seems so incredibly limiting to a single school of magic. All the priests, even Chemet, can cast divine magic of all sorts. To limit yourself to a single school is quite a decision." And Chemet goes, "Yes, but mastery of that school is an accomplishment in and of itself." He turns to you and goes, Any information about what happened last night? I am intrigued. I heard nothing about it in the morning paper." Which is probably a good thing.
No, I think I found I saw the guy with the sphere that I was looking for, but he got away, and I don't really have any leads to exactly follow him, and I was a little more preoccupied with Renshore's state of health, and
Sure.
There was another cultist there too. There were two of them, and the other guy was using archaic magic.
Oh, interesting. I can't remember the last time I saw archaic magic.
Yeah, he was
being
turning
illegal,
into
of course, but
birds and stuff. It was eerie to watch.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a true shapeshifter. That's wonderful. Probably terrifying at the time, but that's interesting.
Yeah, but so it seems like the activities of these cultists are acting up more and more. I mean, they keep like making more public attacks.
You see
So-
Tremet kind of scratches his face and goes, well, as Amira teaches, a good strategy is lacking when its patterns can be surmised. But there were a good many differences between seems like this most recent attack and the incident in the Temple of Ryan and the attack on you
Yeah.
11
Well,
weeks
at
ago.
Ryan, they were targeting us, and then last night we were following them.
Oh,
And so we kind of surprised them, and they kind of more so attacked in defense rather than coming after us.
interesting.
But
Let's
still an attack nonetheless, and still cultist activity, and was hoping to get more information out of it to find where they're meeting, but
No, of course.
we got caught following them. So
Well, that is
didn't work out the way
quite
I would have hoped.
unfortunate. But again, as Amira says, patterns can be surmised. What similarities do we have between these three incidents? Were there any attempts to curse the temple's occupants? Were the occupants of the wherever the attack was last night?
I don't think it was a curse. He created this illusion that made the streets turn and the lights change and the ground was falling beneath us, and there were these illusions of townsfolk trying to attack us and stuff, but it was very, very different.
Well, that sounds truly horrific. And
Yeah.
he moves to a book and starts to flip through. You see a lot of it is written in runic, but he's flipping through this book. And he goes, "Tell me more about this, this
And
effect, the spell." And as he's kind of flipping through, you see Elda kind of nudges you on the side and goes, "On the bright side, I doubt that you could be cursed twice."
yeah. I mean, I didn't see what happened to Renshaw when he went down, but he got up and he seems okay. I don't think it... Yeah. Renshaw was the only one to go down.
I'm glad he's okay. And you see Chemet, as he's flipping through this book, goes, "You too would be surprised. There's a tale of the night of a knight in the War of Seven Peaks who was cursed 22 times." As he's flipping through this book, Elda goes, "How did he lift 22 curses?" To which
I imagine he didn't.
Chemet goes, "Precisely right. He did not. His comrades actually allowed him to be captured by the enemy, so his foul luck would spread amongst their ranks until they ended up casting him over a ridge. But we only have one curse to worry about, and no ridge in sight. So we are yet one curse." And he flips through the book. After
do you know anything about catacombs in the city?
catacombs, let's see.
I don't know. You have all these books open. There's got to be something about catacombs.
Chemet is like goes, I've catacombs in the city. I have not heard of any catacombs in the city. And Elda goes, "Oh, something they teach at the academy that you did not know." And she turns to you and goes, "As a matter of fact, yes. Before in the early days of Thalia, before the wall extended, pretty much the city was only Avondale Hill, and during that time, the city was still small. The relationship with the Moors was tense, but as a show of goodwill, the Moors had assisted the townsfolk in how to do burial rites so near to the forest. And so there was, of course, a Calorian style thrust upon their teachings. However, the two cultures had worked together to create a catacomb system for burials. As far as I'm aware, even again, as soon as the city expanded, the catacombs weren't kept up with. I can't imagine after the betrayal of the witches that any entrances to the catacombs remained unsealed. I wouldn't imagine that if they didn't destroy the catacombs altogether.
Do you know, do they have any systems of navigating them? Any like patterns or signs or way to get through?
Are you planning on going into the catacombs, Orianna? No, I've heard of stories about them, but I haven't seen maps of the catacombs.
I'm just wondering.
You're
heard
not
about
thinking
them
about going
recently.
into the catacombs, are you?
That's for me to know.
It sounds like you're looking to go into these catacombs.
Maybe. What are you gonna do about it?
Nothing but worry more about you. And Tremet goes, the catacombs would yield excellent information. Most likely...
That's what I'm saying.
Most likely horrifyingly dangerous, but excellent information.
Honestly, nothing's going to be worse than this curse at the moment, and so if going to the catacombs is going to get me more information, then that's where I'm going to go.
And Elda rolls her eyes and goes, there is nothing I could say that could talk you out of it, so I'm not going to try.
Nope.
But at least don't go alone. Even without the dangers of a collapsing catacomb, they cannot be in good shape, and to get lost down there would be a truly...
Yeah, but I've been doing the rest of this alone the last 2 months. And the minute I start bringing my friends into it and I start going back to them, they start getting hurt. They get attacked at Ryan, we get attacked on the street.
It sounds like you're safer when more people are around.
It sounds like everyone else is more in danger when I'm around them. But I'm trying. I'm trying.
And Chemet goes, and so are we, and we will come to a solution on how to break this curse in no time. Yes, but if you would like to take the sphere, the Commonwealth, unfortunately I don't have more information on its recent actions, but I can tell you it is stable, it is safe, it has not been altered or corrupted in any way that I can see, and it...
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come by soon. Come by often.
Yeah.
And we will...
Not often.
Come by soon and often. That way we can spend some time working on this and some time correcting your footwork. Yes.
Well, it was nice to see you, Elda.
It was...
I'm glad you're doing well.
It was very nice.
I'm glad you're a sage.
Yes. I will be sure to let you know when I start teaching my first class in the spring.
Yes, please do. Please.
Hopefully you will be curseless and maybe even attend some of them.
All right. And I want to take the sphere and put it like in a pouch or a bag that I have. And I guess make my way out of the office.
Yeah, absolutely. As you go to leave, the last thing that Chemet says is he puts another hand on your shoulder and goes, thanks to you, there were no bodies to bury this time. You should reflect on how far you've come in the last few weeks. and on how well my Vignacci lessons have served you. Don't forget.
I won't.
All right. We'll see you soon. And turns back to his books and his coffee, and him and Elda have a little more work they're looking to do in the morning before they go their respective ways.
And then I think my next stop is going to be to find a carriage to take me to Brighthold.
Perfect. As you get in your carriage to Brighthold, we're going to move back to Darlington. Actually, we're still within Darlington, but back to Nightingale Avenue as Quill and Keep begins to rise. People begin to move about. And breakfast is served at the table. Unfortunately, Kier had an early morning service at the Temple of Everin this morning. He wished to attend, so he is currently not present. But Florian is here, and she is at the table, thanking every servant that comes through and every chef for the breakfast they put out. And this is what you come down to, Eleanor.
Good morning, Mama.
Good morning, Eleanor. How did you sleep last night? I heard you were out a little late.
Oh, it's been so pleasant to be back with Renshaw and Orianna again. We were just catching up, the three of us.
Of course. I was surprised. Usually, the nobles your age are out late during the summer months doing during the courting season. You wouldn't be trying to catch up on any courting.
No. Of course not. No, it's just as friends. It was nice to have a night out on town.
All right, okay. Nobody caught your eye, not even a little?
Not quite yet.
These viscounts and high nobles and the people of Darlington need to step up their game. If nobody is good enough for my daughter, I'm going to have to start outsourcing from Valdor.
When I go out to the university, I think across the Dromos Sea, my perfect match is waiting for me.
She has high expectations. I am excited to see who you bring home from across the sea. He or she will have they will have a difficult time getting past your father. I will tell you that. But if you don't mind, I have a list of some things that are going on this week that we will most certainly be attending. Tomorrow night, I have word that the Fairchilds are hosting a showing of A Tale of Lost Knights. It's one of your father's favorite hearth legends. It will be tomorrow night at the Brightfire Hearth, and there will be quite a few counts and viscounts attending, and so we, as in support of the Fairchilds, will be attending to that.
What a splendid affair. I look forward to it.
So it'll be quite nice. In addition, the Amera Finale, which translates as the Last Amora, is a service that the Temple of Volsair hosts every year. It's the Last Amora, which is a day of the week, the Last Amora to take place before Asha, which is typically the harvest season. So in early Calidor, it was pretty much like the last weekend before the farmers went hard at work during the harvest season. So it's kind of like their last rest before their big push to harvest everything. So the Last Amara is a service in the Temple of Volsair, and Florian goes, the Caldwells will be hosting a social after at the High Parlor that we'll be attending. It shouldn't be too long, but it will probably take up a bit of the afternoon, but we'll be attending their social after. It should be open to most of the pristine. So it'll be nice to see some people after your most wonderful ball and see what talk amongst the counts and viscounts, the gossip.
Yes, the early reports seem to be faring quite well. I have had Gwendolyn and Odette all around town listening, and people seem to have, of course, enjoyed it.
I would expect nothing less. It was a most wonderful ball. And she goes, lastly, before I forget,
Yes.
your father has scheduled Muldur Ecclestone, one of the Viscounts Ecclestone's cousins. On the 1st of Asha, he will be coming to the house to paint a family portrait.
How pleasant.
Yes. So start thinking of what you would like to wear. I will let you know as soon as I have an outfit picked out.
Yes, we must all go together and match. Of course, family colors.
Yes, of course. We'll have to once again convince Kier family colors, but he looks so good in Quillen colors. He does.
Yes. Red. It matches our hair.
It truly does. It brings out the hair. It brings out the eyes, and he looks stunning in it. He just refuses to wear it, out of spite for who knows why.
Who knows?
Yes.
That all sounds good.
Yes.
I hope yesterday you got my note. How was the meeting? I heard that it was quite of the moment.
Yes, it was.
That wasn't marked on the calendar.
No, it was very impromptu. It was, I believe, it was a little bit spurred by your events in the Temple of Ryan, which again I am so most thankful that you were okay. But
the piece comes out today, this morning.
No,
did you know?
I did not.
The piece on the event, I have personally attended to it. It paints Orianna in such a glowing light as the protector, along with the priest of Ryan.
I love it.
I am sure it will be wonderful and help her in the Ashen Order.
Truly excellent. I knew it was coming out sometime this week, but that is wonderfully fast. That will
yes, I know. We ordered it just to get it out there, avoid any scandal, make sure that Renshaw and I are only mentioned as bystanders who were unharmed.
Oh, truly excellent. A daughter after my own heart. Yes. But the preceding meeting was quite impromptu. But the High Priest Ilion, spoke in front of the Pristine. No vote was cast yet. We'll probably be meeting sometime next week in order to finalize a vote. But he had suggested that with money starting to be, the marks starting to be strained by the war down south.
Of course.
He suggests, as a way to boost the royal treasury, the enlightened as a whole would forego income from the Pristine, and then in exchange, the Pristine the enlightened would pay for goods and services with a upkeep in both public and private blessings, magical services, and protection business from the Ashen Order, and then any goods and services from for the enlightened simply be requested by a scion or a Templar, and as long as the Pristine approves, then it would go to them for free, essentially.
Oh.
And so...
Well, that's, certainly an option, and of course, everyone tithes to the enlightened anyway, so they do have that. That would be two sources of income.
Yes, it would be.
I'll make notes to see what our journalists think.
Yes.
Get a collective opinion.
That would be excellent.
Some research for you.
I don't know how I feel about it. It seems dangerous to let the enlightened take what they can from the city without paying for it, especially with not without a monetary value being placed on blessings, magical services, and protection. I don't know if
Yes.
the high priest truly intends to overwork the priests now with more efforts and overwork the Ashen Order, or if they will continue to do their regular services but simply receive everything for free. I think they're just there's so many unknowns about it right now. But I understand there's a lot of counts who agree that more funds in the royal treasury would allow for more public projects that benefit the people of Thalia. So I understand their desire for ever since going on multiple years of war. I can only imagine the Lords of Coin are doing the best they can to keep us afloat.
Of course, yes. I hope that there is a solution that benefits all of the people of Thalia.
Yes, me as well.
I've been thinking more lately about everyone, the non-nobility within the city, and how this all could affect them. So I will put in word
Good.
with our writers.
No, that is
for sure.
That is a thought of a good count, keeping in mind their people. I know your grandmother was so excellent at that. She was not only just the people of Thalia, but you know how much she loved to travel. She would get the words of people in town, people in the shires, and she was very good at remembering everyone. And it was always tough because you can never make everyone happy, and she tried every time make everyone happy.
Well, that all looks good. I look forward to it. I have a bit of business to attend to at the tributary, and then I'm
Yes.
checking in with Renshaw and Orianna again. It's been so pleasant to be around them again. The
Good.
trio feels like it's back.
Yes,
But if you have need of me, send out. Julius has been such a wonderful carriage driver. You should ask him if he has any recommendations for your carriage. He has just been so pleasant.
Okay, I'm glad that he has impressed you, and I will make note of it. No, that is very good to know. Thank you. All right, now go. Don't let me hold you up. You are
Yes.
such a busy person. I don't know how you keep track of it all. I barely know how I keep track of it all. But I will
Yes.
reconvene tonight, and then we will certainly be together tomorrow for the in Bright Fire Hearth.
Of course.
Excellent. All right.
Yes.
Yes,
And then I'll go and kiss her cheek before heading out.
Perfect. We move once again down the street to Tyrval Manor as the morning comes. Tyrval Manor begins to move about, getting ready for the day. Renshaw, is there anything you would like to do first thing in the morning?
So Renshaw is going to wake up and go to get dressed, and he will note that the black mark that he saw last night has faded to like a dark purple, but it is still ever present as it's encroaching across his chest, but not nearly as noticeable as it was. But he will quickly put on a shirt and fairly get dressed for the day, and he will approach his writing desk and finish that letter he was has been working on for a couple days now.
Excellent. Perfect. The letter is complete, signed and sealed. Yeah, it is. Writing well done.
He'll address it, and then he'll also write, like, please open now.
Perfect. Are you sending it out this morning?
Yeah, I will walk out of my room, make sure that anything that needs to be kept private is hidden.
Good deal.
I got my
Good call.
my new bag attached to my hip, and I will search for a pigeon post.
Pigeon post. Yes.
Our one we keep on staff here.
Yes, you have a courier on staff, and you see they turn to you as you come down, and they go, "Oh, Lord Tyrvald, what can I do for you this morning?"
Could you deliver this letter for me?
Yes, he'll take the letter, and before he pockets it, he will read the address on it and goes, "My lord, are you sure?"
Just deliver it.
Okay, it shall be done. Thank you, Lord Tyrvald. And he will kind of like awkwardly leaves Tyrvald Manor. And as he does, we're going to take a quick break as the morning has mostly concluded, and we will reconvene as our High Lords get together for their day. But we'll be right back. Welcome to the world of Ethereum.
A world that was built around a cataclysmic event known as the Convergence, when the realms began to converge with one another and destroy the mortal realm. A group of 9 heroes known as the Novems stopped the force and ascended into godhood. As society rebuilt, the year was reset to 0, and a universal calendar was formed around the destruction of the old world.
New gods, known as the Ascended, walked among the mortals of the realm, interacting with them and shaping the birth of a new society, starting with the ancient cities that survived, as well as assisting in the construction of new cities. Their involvement left behind evidence of their greatness and power. These cities are now considered touched cities and are epicenters for religion. Yet the new gods' might and aura was too great for this realm. The gods withdrew, allowing mortals to govern their own destinies and reach ascension as well. However, they still watch over and protect from the ascent.
The Ascended brought new magic to the world, ascension magic, that was formed from the Convergence. This is the well of magic that fuels the gods and then can be gifted or cursed to other mortals. However, the world of Ethereum was already familiar with magic, as some are born with archaic magic, originating from the natural chaos within the realms and embedded within the ley lines. Over time, Ethereans honed a third magic through the manipulation of runes onto the natural resource of siphons found deep within Ethereum. This runic magic is wielded and imbued into artifacts by anyone who is armed with a spheric focus and willing to learn its language.
Ethereum's people feature all manner of races and culture intertwined with each other across the land. People were forced to come together after the destruction of their homes to rebuild anew. Our world is full of stories and adventure, of comedy and of tragedy. So, please join us at the inn for a tale or two, and welcome to Ethereum.
Dearest Orianna, I don't know what I'm doing. I cannot write to her. Not anymore. But so much has happened, and I just need someone to talk to. Someone who can listen to all the things that I cannot tell her. I found my grandsire's siphon, and I've been practicing runic magic. It's illegal and super dangerous, but I do not wish to stop. I wish to understand where I come from, who my grandsire and family were before Thalia and before the depraved, and I believe I need all the help I can get. As your Viscount, I implore you to like and subscribe, and together we can keep the depraved out of this city and save her.
Welcome back to more City of Shadow. We return to Orianna on this overcast morning as she goes to Brighthold Barracks to deliver the the Commonwealth, the sphere to whoever she can find, whoever she deems worthy. Orianna, you reach Brighthold. Who are you looking for when you get here?
Yeah, I'm really just looking for anyone who's like a rank above me, like an enforcer. If I happen to find a Templar, maybe a Templar, but I'm more so that's too high up. It's too high. I'm looking for an enforcer.
Yeah, absolutely. It does not take long. You are able to find an enforcer. You find one of the enforcers that was currently or previously in charge of you when you were first joining the Ashen Order, still on patrols. Pretty much like one of your supervisors before being transferred to Dayborne and before being moved as the personal bodyguard of Renshaw Tirol.
Yeah, and I want to pull out the bag that I have the sphere in and hand it to him and say,
what's this?
This is an artifact that I found at the Temple of Ryan. I believe it belonged to Hera Horster, the lady that we have over at Blacktomb. You need to have a better job of having your cloak searching crime scenes. I found it hidden behind a stack of books on a shelf somewhere. But I believe that this proves that Hera is a mage and therefore pretty powerless in that cell without this.
I guess if you that is, jeez. All right, we'll get this over to Ashgate. Well, Miss Lunaris, if you have such a problem with how we investigate our crime scenes, maybe you can stop playing with the nobles and get back to the down and dirty with the rest of us if you find the time. But
yeah, well, I did find this, didn't I? So
we will get this into evidence right away.
Thank you.
I'm sure you have work with the counts. So whenever you're available for your next patrol, you come and see me.
I will. And then I leave.
Okay.
I don't want to be there any longer than I have to. Just dropping the sphere off to someone else's property. I mentioned it belonged to Hera Harvester, and hopefully to socially clear her name a little bit and get out of there.
Deal. You dropped this off with the enforcer. His name is Hap Waterlag, and he is a
awful name.
That's terrible.
It's the worst name.
And he is a half dwarf, half human.
I love that the same day that you drop off this evidence and being like, your Ashen Orders just didn't properly check out the crime scene, a newspaper comes out with you on the front page, Orianna, the hero of the Ryan Temple.
Yeah, I need to get this in quick. I can't have my face around here in Brighthold. I need to get out.
Oh yeah.
And hopefully I told the carriage to wait for me because I knew I wasn't going to be that long, and I want to get back in whatever carriage dropped me off and take me back to the Tirval Manor.
Yeah, you are able to get back to the Tirval Manor. It is getting into the late morning, but still prior to lunch. The carriage drops you off at the Tirval Manor. It sets you back a couple shade marks, as it's not your carriage driver. Public transit, and you You get out and you see there is a courier of the Pigeon Post waiting at the top of the driveway for you.
For me.
He goes, yes, Miss Lunaris, I have this letter. It came in for you, and he hands it to you.
Came in for you.
He goes, I usually at this point I go deliver more letters, but I'm actually stationed here at the house, so I don't want this to be strange, but I'm just gonna stand here. I usually don't do this. I usually leave after this part, but I'm gonna stay right here.
Yeah.
Because that's my job right now. But
Okay, and I just kind of start walking into the house and looking at the letter. The envelope, does it have who it's from on it?
It does not have who it's from on it, but it is sealed with a Tyrvald seal, I presume.
It's the same stationery you've received every other week.
That's and it on the envelope it says open now, read now. As stated.
It says, please open now.
Please open now.
I will take this back to the servants' quarters where I've been staying, back to like my bed, and I am intrigued that it says open now because Renshore's upstairs, I presume.
Probably.
And none of the other letters he has ever sent me seemed so immediate. And so I will go ahead and open this letter now, when usually I don't open the letters immediately.
Yeah.
What does it say?
You open it, yeah. I unfortunately cannot help. I do not know what it says.
Orianna, I must be frank. I am unsure why I still write to you. It has been a week of seeing you, hearing your voice again. I cannot look away. Not from your hair, the same mesmerizing shade of green as your eyes. I thought these past weeks you were happy. Happy in your new position with the Ashen Order. Happy without me. But then seeing you, I could once more breathe, and I wish to know why your eyes appear so haunted. It's strange to write to you, but in person I find I do not have the words. I am stunned to be in your presence, and by the ongoings of our life. I am terrified, Orianna. I fear for you, and Eleanor, and myself, and what we have gotten ourselves into. I want none of it. I want us, you, to be safe. And I fear that look in your eyes back in the Temple of Ryan, the tailory and the alley. Your fear is my own, even if I do not understand its rooting. Why must we hide the runic magic? What happened that changed you and separated us? I long for the moments like we had before, practicing Vinyashi with you at the Temple of Amira, you correcting my forms and running my hands along your thighs. Being with you these days almost feels like what it once was, but that hurts every time I remember that it is not. That I cannot be who I once was to you, comfort you, touch you. Every day I am with you, and I miss you. Renshaw.
Aww.
That was really good.
That was sweet. That was a really sweet letter. Aww.
You made a real Tory blush.
I think I feel a lot of love coming from Renshaw in this letter. And I almost want to go back upstairs and like address him immediately about this letter.
I will say as Orianna is like processing that, the letter and the she's processing what to do with that information and whether to go upstairs or whether to stay. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
That is an 11.
11. As you are reading this letter and trying to think about what to say to Renshaw, whether to approach him now, whether to wait till later, it is just on like the hinges, the edges of your peripherals, but the fireplace that warms the servants' quarters, the candles that light your room, as people move in and out, the flames grow a little bit. The fireplace emboldens. The light from these sources begins to shed, not like that normal warm light of a fire, but like a hot, white, bright light begins to spill out into the room. The heat in the servants' quarters begins to get hotter and hotter and hotter. You can feel at the edges of your brow sweat begin to accumulate. As you're still focusing on the letter, at the edges of your hearing, you can hear some of the servants start to complain about the heat, and then their complaints become more worried, more stressed, more frantic, as you can see this going beyond discomfort. They begin to complain about this heat, about how sweltering it is down here, about...
Yeah, I think I start to pick up on that,
Mhm.
hearing the people starting to complain, and then I think I look up, I drop the letter down, and kind of take note of what's happening, and now I'm starting to freak out a little bit, and I don't know what to do, and I'm starting to get a little scared that I don't know how to control what's happening.
Yeah, as you kind of listen more, you can hear the people complain about their skin. It's hot, it's burning. Every breath you start to take gets hotter and hotter. You can feel the air like burning your nostrils. It's like you're in a dry sauna. And as that becomes more, the heat becomes more and more, and your breathing becomes faster and faster as that fear kind of takes over. The light just gets brighter and brighter down here. I need you to make another wisdom save.
Ooh, that one's a 7.
As that fear takes over, it gets hotter and hotter. You're breathing faster and faster. All of a sudden, the candles go out. The fire burns to a small kindling flame with a handful of embers. All of a sudden, it's like a door or a window was open, and the heat was just sucked out of the room, and you're left with this still cold. And as you see from those dancing shadows from the fireplace, you can't see the other servants in the servants' quarters, but you see their shadows. One of them reaches a hand up to one of the kitchen knives on the table and reaches up and plunges it into the back of another person whose shadow reels back. You don't even hear the scream of the other person as you see the knife stab in, and you see on your own shadow the sword unsheathed out of your own...
I think at this point I am dropping the letter on the bed, and I'm running out of the room, and I would like to run out the front door.
Yeah, you start to run. Give me a dexterity saving throw and another wisdom saving throw.
Dex saving throw. That's a 23 for the Dex saving throw.
Okay.
And a wisdom is a 19.
Cool. You sprint out of the servants' quarters. You get out the front door, where you are immediately greeted again by the courier, who turns to you, and as soon as you get outside, you see your shadow catch up with you and is completely in pace, completely matching your steps. You see the courier turns and goes, "Please tell me you have a letter to go out."
I'm just catching my breath.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I do not have a letter.
Oh, okay. I will continue to wait here then. Do you need a drink of water? I could pour you a drink of water.
No,
He's
I'm
allowed
sorry.
to wait inside.
Okay. No, you catch your breath, Miss Lunaris. I'm just gonna, again, I have to stand here. It's just part of my job. I don't mean to be strange. I'm just gonna wait here for a letter. But you see, as you take in that morning air, again, the cool, overcast afternoon, the air is not hot, the air is not burning. Everyone's shadows move the way they should be. And it's like the servants' quarters never happened.
Yeah. Once I catch my breath and calm down a little bit, I'll make my way back into the manor. And then I think I would like to go out into the back gardens and just kind of hang about outside there, maybe sitting on a bench or maybe like pacing up and down a little bit and just kind of looking through any of the windows and waiting to see like when Renshaw comes down or if lunch is being served or like anything that like I should go back into the house for, I'll go back in.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I'm just kind of gonna hang out here until Eleanor arrives.
Deal. Renshaw, do you think you come down before Eleanor gets there, or are you pretty much waiting until you have a reason to come downstairs?
So Renshaw noticed Orianna run out of the building after presumably having his letter delivered.
Oh.
And that man is heartbroken.
Oh.
So no, he is going to sit in his room.
Okay. Yeah. No, that Renshaw, he stays in his room, and eventually a servant calls to the house announcing the arrival of Count Heir Eleanor Quillen. And Eleanor, you enter the Tyrell house to an empty foyer.
Just standing there, politely looking around.
Yeah, it is just you and this pigeon post courier. That's it's been a strange day.
The days have been quite strange lately. I'm sure someone will come receive me soon.
I'll eventually come. I'll come in the house.
I'm just standing there like...
Yeah, the two of you just...
Right.
Yes, the weather.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'll come into the house and come greet Eleanor.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Orianna.
I'll come down the stairs.
Hi,
about the
Ellen.
same time.
I kind of imagine that we both enter the doors on
Mhm.
two different floors at the same time.
Oh, 100%.
Hi, I'm sorry that I'm late. I got caught up at business at the tributary. How was your mornings?
Yeah, it was fair. How was yours? Did you get any sleep?
Some. Sure, good morning. Good after. I know it is almost lunchtime, but how are you?
I've been better. And you can see his
I
eyes are a
know.
little puffy.
Oh.
Oh,
I'm sorry if last night scared you, Renshaw. It was quite terrifying. And I know you got badly injured. I'm so sorry. And then I'll give you a big hug.
Thank you, Eleanor.
Eleanor's big hug is like easily waist level, if not lower. Like it is right. It is a low hug, but that's where Eleanor's at.
I'd like to try to take Eleanor and Renshaw off to like the side study, like out of the foyer to talk.
Yeah.
And then once we're in there and seated, I was hoping to tell you that I have redelivered the sphere back to the Ashen Order, the sphere that was Miss Harvester's, in hoping to clear her name a little bit. I know how much it meant to you that she wasn't being tried as a witch, and I completely agreed with you in that. And so, I mean, although her trial will still probably end not great, at least
Of course.
they should have all of the information now, and it will be a true and fair trial.
Thank you, Orianna. I hope that didn't mess up whatever you needed Chimette to have it for. I didn't mean to work
No,
against
it's
your
okay.
actions. Of course, I just...
No, I felt the same as you did, and I felt bad that I needed to delay it and potentially corrupt the trial. I appreciate you helping me in getting what I needed done, and I hope I can return the favor in giving you some peace that her trial will be fair.
Yes, that is quite comforting to know. Thank you. Today, well, last night was, unfortunately unproductive for, what occurred. I was hoping that we'd get a little bit more information. I do fear for the Kimbridges if Hamill decides to return to his post.
Yeah, he might, and I fear for them, and I don't know if should we go over and just straight out tell them what we know, or should we maybe scope it out first and see if he is still there, and maybe try to then follow him again, or try and grab him this time. Like, should we go straight to the Kimbridges, or should we scope it out?
I mean, perhaps we could approach quietly, see what we see, but I think no matter what, perhaps you as the Ashen Order should warn the Kimbridges that their carriage driver is wanted by the Ashen Order for runic or archaic, magical suspicions.
Yeah.
Just because... And maybe we shouldn't tail him this time. I don't know how much we learned from that, other than the food he likes to eat for dinner, and that he meets horrible people in back alleys, which we knew.
And I was meaning to talk to Enforcer Dayborne, and I just got so caught up in my morning. I haven't had a chance to write him a letter. Should I get Dayborne here to assist us with this? I mean, if he is that much trouble.
Perhaps. I mean, we didn't try to get him just one-on-one, but I think if he wasn't alerted before, he certainly is now. And backup. I wish to continue helping with this and being involved because, well, there's certainly a lot going on and a lot that can't be public, and we have been forced by the cult to be involved by my study and Renshaw's family, but I also am not quite the most capable in assisting in the rest.
As you're speaking and talking, I think I'm immediately starting to pull out quill and paper, and I want to start writing up a letter to Dayborne saying, can you please arrive at the Quillins as soon as possible? We're not in danger, but we do need you immediately.
Okay.
We have information on Hambell, and we would like you here now.
Okay. You want them to the Quillins or the Tier Vault? Your choice.
Oh, we're at the Tierval's household. I would like him to show up at the Tyrvell's household.
Sweet.
As soon as
That
possible.
You have
You're gonna
never
make the
seen
boys
you have never seen a happier courier from the Pigeon Post to take that letter and book it down the
And
street.
leave.
He leaves and he is so happy about it. Yes, that letter gets out to Dayborne.
Well, from what we have learned from the Temple of Ryan, it does take Dayborne quite a bit of time to travel. So perhaps we should delay our heading until he arrives.
Yeah,
What-
I think we should discuss with him first before heading over to the Kimbridges. Yeah, that's a good idea.
We also saw yesterday, before the other events, the two other potential members of the cult of Cinderfall, the stable hands at the palace, no less. I can't believe the cult of Cinderfall. They have infiltrated the news. They have infiltrated the palace. I mean, this is deeply entrenched people to be working so far against, well, the news and the palace.
John, can I roll to try to remember what they looked like? Because I remember peeking out of the window of the carriage.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever caught a glance of them.
I have notes that they are a halfling and a tiefling, so I would assume that Eleanor has.
Yeah. Can I try to remember if I've seen them before,
Yeah,
if
sure.
I know who they work for, which carriages they work for?
Yeah. Give me a history or a gossip check.
Can I give the help action by supplying what I remember?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can roll with advantage.
I need it. Oh, okay. It was between a 9 and an 18. History.
Yeah.
You would know that these two are permanent employees of Castle Greywall. They work the stables, so they're not tied to a specific carriage, but they tend to all the horses that stay there. These two haven't been there particularly long. They're not senior members, but they've probably been there since before the war started, and so they'll tend to the horses or the convoys of, if nobles come visit the Castle Greywall, they'll tend to their horses. It's whatever nobles are utilizing the stables. They tend to the animals and make sure that the carriages are all set and taken care of. Direct traffic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you don't know either one of them personally.
All right. So they're all the way at Greywall.
Mhm.
We wouldn't really want to leave here now that Dayborne's coming this way. But I would fear that even interacting with those people would lead to a similar situation from last night.
I mean, I would hope that in the day, and not quite so suspiciously, if we just talk to them. I don't know if you could arrest on sight for suspicion. Take them somewhere safe, like to Ashgate.
Well, we can bring that up to Enforcer Dayborne when he gets here,
Yeah.
that we noticed the connection and they're definitely involved in the cult, and then get his approval for an immediate arrest, and he can help with that, for sure.
Hopefully, are we telling Dayborne about Cinderfall?
Yeah, so let's get our story straight now then.
Yes,
What
I think
exactly do we want to tell? Let's a little list. What do we want to tell Dayborne?
I think he should certainly know about the fact that there is an active cult. Know that Lucille and Hamill and Hera were all participating members of the cult. that the cult is looking for Venture or a Tyrval. Do we? We
Venture,
can mention Finger.
Yeah, Venture, would you be okay with mentioning that they very specifically are looking for your family? Or do you still want that to be private?
I would prefer that to stay private if we can.
That is somewhat out
Oh,
already. I mean, we told Dayborne
We mentioned that the
they
attackers
were
at
after
Ryan
you.
were after you, but we didn't really make a clear association that it was that they want your finger for cultist activities.
Yes, we can keep the finger part quiet. But I also told the high priest that they were after you. Just get a guard, Orianna, assigned here.
got it. Okay. Yeah, we can share that then.
I think the finger part we can keep quiet. It is quite strange. I don't know if Dayborne would have any theories, but what else do we have that we can or should share? I mean, I think the fact that there was a archaic spell book in my mama's study, marked
That was
by
stolen.
a painting done by Venture's grandsire, that was stolen, is something we keep quiet.
Oh, we do want to keep that quiet. I mean, associate it with Renshore's family, yes, but knowing that they have stolen a spell book. I mean, we can add it to the other string of stolen items that they've taken. They've been stealing all of the spheres.
If we can let them know of that and not let them know that they took it from my study, I don't want to put my family on the list just as much as I don't want the Tyrvals to get hurt. A ritual done in my study by Lucille, who was involved with the printing press, it is one thing. It could look like an act of revenge that they just chose that space to perform the ritual. Letting them know that my family, while unknowingly...
But if I mention the spell book along with the other spheres and the chalice and everything else that's been stolen, like just lumping that all together would be okay? I won't say where they found it. Granted, I don't know specifics on where they found the spheres either. So I would just...
Yeah. I mean, the knowledge of a spellbook, yes. The knowledge of spellbook and study, no.
Deal.
Do we inform him of the Moorish myths? I mean, I got that from the priest of Ryan. I don't know if that's necessarily anything that we couldn't share. It's just a book that I looked into because we knew about the spellbook already. To share the legend of Nox, kind of update him in all ways that don't seem suspicious.
Yeah, and then bringing on the Nox, do we want to mention the Watlands to him?
Not yet. Unless we have... I hate to put Yana score out for information we're unsure of.
Okay.
I mean, the Watlands plan to go out in a month, or 2 months' time, whatever. If we get closer, then I think so. But if the only link is Yaniscora, I'd hate to get him in trouble.
Understood.
Well, we are using like our eavesdropping, and we're using that as like our information location. So It probably wouldn't be tracked down to Yaniscore. It would just be like, oh, the cultists are also aware that this is happening.
That's assuming that the cultists know.
We just tell Dayborne the cultists know.
Yes, but the Watlands would know if the cultists know.
Would they?
If they only told Yaniscore in privacy and expected him to stay silent on the matter, then they might assume that Yaniscore is an occultist if they learn that the occultists know.
Yeah.
I think if it becomes relevant, I don't mind sharing, but at the moment, we don't know the association besides that they seem suspicious. And honestly, speaking as a count, an enforcer would need a significant amount of evidence and proof before they would go after one of us.
Yeah, you would know, even to touch more on that, an enforcer would never make a move against a count or even a viscount if they had a lot of evidence stacked up against a count or a viscount. That would go right up to a Templar. Like, a Templar would be handling that personally.
Yeah.
With all the political tactness and, like, yeah, it would be very, very different from a normal arrest. But yeah, you know that, like, as it stands, even if you told Dayborne that you murdered somebody, then, like, he wouldn't do anything about it. He might try to tell a Templar, and if the Templar's like, that sucks, like, that's where it could end, right? Like, Dayborne does not have any way to prosecute up, especially to a count or a viscount. With, I guess, the only exception being if they saw, like, if Eleanor started casting violent spells in the street, you know, some violent, like, if she pulled us and started just killing people, they would be like, well, we have to do something. We have to retain public order. We have to do something.
For sure.
But aside from that, you're pretty much above anyone but a Templar.
Yeah. So I think the Watlands are a case that perhaps we should look into privately. It also does... It's not the most convenient people to look into, considering they don't show up to any social events.
Yeah.
And
no, they're definitely going to be a tough bunch to spy on and figure out.
Yes. But letting him know that Cinderfall is an event that Hera described as the Great Equalizer is probably good information.
I mean, that's a pretty good list to go through with him.
Yeah,
that's a lot of information. I think he's going to be quite surprised with what we've come up with.
Yes, hopefully it bodes well on you. I hope that, you know, he gives a good recommendation.
Yeah, I just hope it's useful enough information to get us somewhere. You know, I hope that he can help us move forward in this and try and catch some of these cultists.
I would love if we could learn more from Himmel. If we could, with assistance this time.
Yes.
You, at this point, there is an announcement to Tyrval Manor that Enforcer Dayborne has arrived to the manor, and you see him in the main foyer, dressed in his Ashen Order cloaks, his bright red mustache combed and trimmed, and turns to the three of you, goes, "Oh, Count Quillen, Viscount Tyrvald, partner."
We're tucked away in the study.
Gotcha.
Can I would assume Orianna's gonna go out to, like, greet him and get him in here since she's the one who called to him. Can I, while she's out for a moment, because my insight's really high, I want to clock in on Renshaw for a moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Orianna steps
I
out.
don't think it even takes a high insight. He's clearly upset.
Yeah.
I can pick up from him, not even like with the letter, just his attitude right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he
His
said he
face.
was crying, and I hugged him earlier. But I think, like, in this moment where you're, like, out for, like, a hot second,
Yeah.
I want to try to speak to him.
Yeah.
Renman, you were right.
Oh,
It's Amira.
yeah.
You seem more shaken today than you were last night, and I just was wondering if perhaps you upheld your weekly tradition?
Yeah. But it didn't go well. So
Did you hand her it yourself?
no.
What happened?
I gave it to the pigeon post guy.
Oh, to deliver to your own home.
Yeah.
And?
She ran out of the building after reading it.
In jubilation?
So
I don't think so.
Oh, I'm sorry. But she has been around quite often, and she was quite shaken last night.
Yeah. I think it's time to let go of any ideas that we could go back to how it was.
Times have changed. I'm sorry.
It was foolish to hold on so long.
I don't think it's foolish. I think it's romantic, and I think that it's all right to let her go. And maybe things will change, but we were good as friends, the three of us.
Yeah.
I give him another hug.
Thanks, Helen.
That is so sad. It's devastating. As you finish your hug, Inspector Dayborne enters the study and goes,
I jump off of him
Count Quillen! Viscount Kimbridge, it is a pleasure to see you. We've been spending so much time together. I'm sure you hate that. It's never fun.
I sure have.
It is never fun. No, never fun to deal with an investigator. I fully understand, but we are on a good trail.
Good morning, Inspector. It's a pleasure to meet you finally.
Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you, of course. Yes, I am Inspector Dayborne. I am on the case for, as I'm sure at this point you are aware, the involvement of these strange magical occurrences that have seemed to follow you around the the city a little bit.
You have met before, have you not? We met just the other...
Twice.
I feel like we've seen each other in passing, but to really know Viscount Kimbridge is
you look familiar, but I wasn't sure.
To truly know a man as deep and complicated as I'm sure Viscount Kimbridge is a long process. But I've been told that you have information on Hambel Vinor, our
yes,
latest lead.
Actually, we do. We have quite a lot of information that we would like to review with you.
Excellent.
I believe the last time we spoke, you gave me the charge of trying to arrest Hambel.
Yes. How did it go? Did he come?
I hate to tell you that it was very unsuccessful.
Oh.
Although we do have a lot of information that goes with that, but he is still running amok in the city.
Amok?
We presume.
Yes.
That is a good word. And he just writes amok in his note. Yes, sorry, continue.
We were trailing him, trying to find an opportune moment, And learned that he uses archaic magic and is a lot more dangerous than we had all intended. And
Another
we couldn't.
witch, another thrall of the witches, I see. Well, we are on
Yes.
quite a trail.
Not
And-
quite another. Actually, they retrieved a sphere, and it turns out that Hera has been a mage all along.
Truly, is that so? That is quite intriguing. So a witch and a mage, both working in cahoots. That is most concerning.
There's so much more, Orianna.
Yes, and we believe that they're all part of an active cult that's running around the city. As we saw Hambel last night meet up with another cultist member who,
Good.
unfortunately, we aren't able to get the identity of, and they had also escaped, but they were meeting up with other people, and we've heard other gossip around town. The other day, we were at Greywall Palace, and we heard other people talking about this cultist activity, and we fear that there's a much larger organization going on here than we anticipated.
That is incredibly concerning. A large, I mean, it's quite a large accusation. Seeming a larger group than we expected of individuals gathering together, plotting against the nobles of our city. That is riveting. And then pulls out his notebook and starts to jot all of this down. And he goes, a citywide conspiracy. Like the witch we haven't seen in the last 5 decades.
And everyone that we've seen, they've all been wearing the same cloaks. All of them tying back to Lucille from the beginning, all the way down to last night when we were following Hambel and the new cultist we saw. They all were wearing the same cloaks, so they're all part of the same organization, that's for sure. And then I've also heard gossip and rumor from some other townsfolk of missing items that are being stolen from inventories. A bunch of spheres were stolen from a carriage and a spell book, and I don't have too much information, but I believe a very important chalice was taken. That they're collecting all of these magical items.
Oh dear, that is quite concerning. If they are willing to get more brazen about these attacks, then I'm sure that whatever they are collecting these objects for is coming soon. If they are willing to risk more for the reward, And
I think that all ties to the last bit of information that I have here. When we spoke to Miss Harvester, I don't know if you got any information out of her, but she was describing an event to us called Cinderfall, an event that she was calling this great equalizer that was going to be happening the 1st of Asha.
The 1st of
And
Asha.
I think this is within 3 days, 4 days now.
Well, that is yes.
Something that her cult has been preparing for. And granted, I don't really know what that entails, what that's happening. I don't know where it's happening or when or how to stop it, but I know that they're preparing for it. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot more than we know.
4 days to stop a ritual called Cinderfall by a conspiracy of cultists running amok right under our nose.
And witches. They're the archaic magic too.
Yes, of course. Incredible. He goes, this is the case of a century.
I love that you take such detailed notes, Enforcer.
Of course, when you're the perception, you look on his notes, and it's like single word bullets for all the stuff you're talking about. It's single word bullets. There's a couple like nice little vocab words that people have mentioned that he's thrown in there and like circled a couple times.
We place all of our faith with the Ashen Order and the Novem.
Yeah. And he goes, of course. Well, so we have 4 days to figure out what do we need to know. We need to know where, who, what, where, when, why and how. Most people forget the how. So, who is doing this? We know Hera Harvester, Hambel Venor. Hera is captured. Hambel is missing.
Generally assuming they call themselves the Cult of Cinderfall.
Cult of Cinderfall. Okay. Excellent. The COC. I'm going to abbreviate it as that. Then
Yes,
we will.
the cock.
Yes. So we have the cock. Then we have the who, the what. What are they doing? They are doing a ritual, we presume, if they're acquiring artifacts. So they are stealing artifacts. They are interesting. When you were attacked in the Temple of Ryan, was anything stolen? I haven't. The reports didn't dictate anything being stolen. I was just violence against the three of you.
I think I just kind of look over to Eleanor because I don't want to mention the page because I don't remember if we've talked about that page before, and so I'm leaving this question up to Eleanor.
Let alone the page.
Yeah,
the whole
I'm not going to jump
fucking
to
book was stolen.
to May because we're not sure. We don't have any reasoning to believe that May is a part of the cult. At least not
but
yet.
she did take something like an important paper.
Yes, but I think I'm going to say, I do know that they were after the Tirvals. Perhaps there is something within the manor or something. I'm unsure.
Yes, very interesting. So they are stealing artifacts, enacting violence, potential ritual coming up. Who, what, where? Do we have a where? That is tricky.
That is, I think, the big question.
Do we know? We don't know how many members. Do we have any estimated number? We know at least Hambel, Hera, at least two people.
I think there's way more than we can
know
count.
That we have a number of spheres that were stolen.
Okay.
That's
Not
exactly
that
what I'm trying to find now in my notes.
Members.
Yes. I was doing some investigation of my own, and through my sources, there were 5 spheres stolen. So if we assume there are 5 spheres, and then one was with Hera, apparently, so at least 4 more spheres. And from my conversations with Hera, it sounds like there are people above her, so at least 7 people are involved in this cult.
Quite unfortunate.
So we're looking for...
Oh, we know of 2 members, potential members, that were with Himmel, 2 stable workers of the Greywall Palace, a halfling and a tiefling.
A halfling and a tiefling. Incredible. Working in the stables. He marks this down. So, okay. So we don't know, we don't have a where. Interesting. Okay, we'll work on the where.
Potentially all of Blacksbane would be affected.
That seems bad. What do we have any information about Cinderfall, which is who, what, where, when? We have first of Asha.
Hera was quite upset about the nobles, and Lucille had tried to publish an article talking up against the war and nobles profiteering from such. And then it was described as the great equalizer. So I am quite fearful.
Yes, of course. So the why, the motive is... We have... So a little conflicting. If it is mages and witches, that seems like the mages from Drayden's Academy have found a way in the south to ally with our enemies in the north and attack us from both sides. That would be bad. However, a great equalizer implies less of a combat maneuver and more of a civil rights activists. which is strange. So our why is either activism or war.
Well,
But either way, it sounds like the counts and viscounts, my priority, let me remind you, are definitely their target, which is not good. We have 4 days to find, and then the how. Do we know how they're going to do this ritual of Cinderfall? Probably not without the spell book and the information there. We know it requires artifacts. We know it requires...
It requires a lot of components that they're actively searching for right now. I know. Yeah. It just requires components, and if we can stop them from getting these components or maybe take them back, then hopefully they won't be able to complete the ritual.
Yes, I would agree.
can I try to mouth to Orianna, like, the word Nox? Like should we tell him about the Nox?
Dayborne is going to look at this real quick and go, what is interesting is if they had all of the components to do their ritual, why not do it now? Why not do it today? Why not do it tonight? Why wait till the 1st of Asha? Or, if you needed all
How do they know they're going to have all the components by the 1st of Asha?
That's a good question. Or in the follow-up, if you're just looking for components, why not say when the components are acquired, we will conduct the ritual. My studies after believing that Hera was a thrall of the witch, I did some digging into Moorish the rituals of the Verimoor, and a lot of their more dangerous and more powerful rituals are very seasonally dependent. They depend on a certain day of the year, or a certain position of the moon, or a certain tide that comes in, something specific. And so the 1st of Asha may be the only night that this can happen, which would explain.
And I believe Eleanor was also reading about some Moorish myths as well, and which she found in her book and her studies of that.
I discovered through Priest of Ryan a passage that talked about Cinderfall, and I will write him down and then pass along the passage.
He's like, I will certainly go through this when I have the time. That is very, very good detective work. Quillen. If you're ever looking for a position in the investigative field, you are more than welcome. The more assistance, the better. Not that I would probably be your assistant if you took on the role of investigating, unless you were training as an investigator, in which case I'd be more than happy to lend my services. But yes, this is good. I'll have to. Yes.
He has such a way with words.
He's an excellent writer, you know. He has so many published novels that he is constantly writing.
Such talent.
He has not quit his day job yet.
Good.
But he goes, very interesting. So, we know of the identity of one of these cultists, Hambel Venor. We know of the location of 2 of these cultists in the stables. It sounds like from the 3 of you, we have a pretty good description. If we can use them to find where this is happening, we will be able to stage some form of ambush with the Ashen Order, catch them in the act, stop them before they have conducted their ritual, and then not only will we be getting the whole conspiracy in one place, and not just cutting off the head, but killing the whole beast, but the case will crack wide open, the answers will be laid out before us, and the novel writes itself, as the expression goes. Excellent. But we need a where. Okay. If that is the case, our next objective is to talk to some of these dubious individuals. I would not.
We would like to speak with the Kimbridges and let them know of, because Hambell was on their service, and maybe we don't know if Hambell went back there, if he's still maybe collecting his things or still trying to work under their cover, but at least make them aware that how dangerous Hambell is.
But of course, I will not bore the nobility with the dredgings of an investigator. But if I know the three of you are quite invested in this investigation, you are more than welcome to join me in informing the Kimbridges and investigating these two very suspicious members of the Greywall stables.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank
I'm
you.
certainly going to tag along and
Excellent.
continue.
Our next stop is the Kimbridge's house. And that will end tonight's session of City of Shadows as the four of you set off to warn the Kimbridges of the danger right under their noses and possibly interrogate Hambell or some more cultists.
Yeah, if we can catch him first.
You can
Yeah.
catch his tail, if you will.
If he doesn't fly away.
He's a sly little rat.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. He is a rat.
He's a rat.
Literally.
He's a rat.
I saw him as a rat. Episode 1.
Episode 1. That Nat 20 couldn't get away.
Dang.
But
Dang.
if you enjoyed today's episode and need to know more, need to know what happens on the 1st of Asha, make sure you like and subscribe to keep up with our incredible highborns, our investigator supremes, and like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for more City of Shadows. Until we meet again over another round at the Four Rings Inn.